Hey guys, my name is Dran, and why yes, I did run out of things to talk about on this channel. How did you know? Recently, a new Hoyoverse game has dropped called Zenless Zone Zero, and it has absolutely consumed my life as of late. But no, I've been waiting on this game to drop ever since it was first teased. Literally with every new thing they showed, I was just becoming a bigger ZZZ fan. Everything about this game was just looking so good and unique. Now, before we get into how the game actually is, let me give you some of my gacha gamer background. I've been a Genshin player for about 2 years, and I've unfortunately spent money on that game. Mind you, I didn't go nuts on spending because I'm not a let's go gambling type of person, especially for a video game. I liked Genshin a lot because it was just fun to explore, find chests that flicker the little light in my brain, and use these pretty characters to deal big damage, as well as some good old progression on building characters. It was a really fun time, except when I ran out of resin and I couldn't upgrade my character and I had to wait like a whole day just to do, just to get past level 50 or some shit. I've tried other gacha games, but nothing ever stuck like Genshin. And I think that's just because Genshin nailed it with everything. It had good story, good gameplay, and great characters. So if it was so good, why did I quit that game? Well, let me take you back to a certain moment of time that I realized I didn't want to play this game anymore. It was around the time they introduced the trading card game, and that's cool. I don't have any problems with it, but they of course want you to play it, so they're waggling their Primo Gems, saying, "Hey, if you play this, you get some Primo Gems." And I was a sucker to get any Primo Gems from anywhere, and I was like, okay, I'll play it. I don't like trading card games, but I'll play it because it's giving me Primo Gems, and I need that for the next banner. It's got a really cool dude. I need it. And boy, I hated it. I hated this trading card game. I don't like this stuff in general, but I just thought it was so boring. And as I'm sitting there waiting for the game to be over, I'm just thinking I'm doing this for, a couple of cents of gems. I'm doing this for like stupid purple blue gems. Thereafter this, I started feeling burnt out from Genshin and wasn't having fun anymore. On top of that, Hoyoverse in some article mentioned that they had zero plans to add any kind of new endgame content like Abyss. So it's like I made these strong characters for what? Things started to not feel worth it anymore, and even more so, nothing felt challenging. And that's when I quit. And that was the last gacha game that I ever touched. Until now. Zenless Zone Zero ZZZ, the game we're taking a look at today. It's a fast-paced, combat-focused gacha game. If you played Honkai Impact, it's a lot like that. I've never played Honkai Impact, so I'm not going to be talking about that at all. I'm sure at this point you've either heard or know about Zenless Zone Zero ZZZ, and at least have heard of any of Hoyoverse's other games. In which case, you've probably heard a lot of bad things when it comes to their games. But they're good, I swear! Some of them. Not the trading card game, but some of them are good! Now, if you know absolutely nothing, all you need to know is that all of these games are gacha games. What's a gacha game? Basically, a game with a built-in lottery. Except instead of winning money, you win a randomized selection of anime girls and their weapons. That is probably the worst way to describe it, but that's a very that's what it is. And in these games, it's pretty typical to be running around doing absolutely everything you can for currency to turn into lottery tickets. So with that being said, ZZZZZZ is a game where you're put in levels with the focus of fast-paced combat, with the main mechanics being dodging and countering. You have a team built up of 3 characters with a bang boo, yes, a bang boo, on the side. How you play varies on what characters you run with, but the core of the gameplay revolves around dodging and countering attacks. If the game looks like an action cutscene, then congrats, you're playing the game well. Ooh, kill him! Ooh, kill him! Oh my God! In between combat missions, you are put into a puzzle/minigame mode where you travel through walls of TVs. This is the part of the game that the community is really divided on, whether they like it or hate it. We'll get more into this later, but just know if you're not in the hub world or fighting enemies, you're here. and you'll be here a lot. Lastly, the game features many hub areas for you to explore and find things to do. The hub areas are fun to explore because of how dense and detailed they are. I personally enjoy them a lot. The hub area's time of day also changes each time you do any event. So eating at a restaurant, getting some coffee, doing a side quest, or going into a combat zone, or straight up just sleeping. You really are ZZZing in the game ZZZZZZ. It's got a routine sort of thing going on with it, and you'll be traveling to your character's bed a lot. It's similar to an RPG in that way where, you know, you're just going through your day. Now, there's more nitty-gritty details, but this is all you need to know for now. For this video, I'm going to fill you in on what I liked about the game, what I didn't like about the game, and whether or not I think it's worth your time. The gameplay. It's fast-paced and simple, but so addicting. Counters and parries are the easiest way to make a player feel on top of the world. Now, while on the surface, it can seem like this is a counter simulator, but it's actually got a solid amount of depth, with other things like attack types, elements, and character types. I really had no issues with the gameplay, other than I wish I had more than one stun unit, but that's just a gotcha thing, so my bad. I should have just done a 10 pull and gotten every 5-star in the game. I should have just gotten lucky! The game's style and art direction. It's so good. I'm like an absolute sucker for anything graphically designed in a Y2K fashion, and this game gets that right. It's what initially drew me into the game. Not only that, all of the official art is just so expressive and fun to look at. I mean, look at the dynamic angles. Look at like all the characters expressing themselves. This style is so fresh, and I honestly love it. Yes! Hell yeah! The animations. It's probably the first thing you see when you search up this game. The animation is actually beautiful. Every single cutscene that plays in-game has me looking at it with my mouth open like I'm a baby watching Cocomelon. It's got so much going on, and you can tell the animators really just had a lot of fun making it.
Especially this one animation, they really had fun making.
Dude, why is Billy Kid more caked up than every girl in this game? Finally, the characters, and the design choice to have them be in factions. This one isn't the biggest deal, just something I personally really like. Each of the character designs have so much going on with a whole lot of flair and personality. And not only that, they're each in their own ragtag organization. I might make a video on a tier list of all the factions and also just characters, maybe in a different video. Yes! Yes! What I disliked. First and foremost, the most obvious thing, the TV sections, the TV wall. Let me run you by your first impression of it. You boot into a mission. The loading cutscene shows hallways of its beautiful world and level design. Suddenly, it goes dark, and now you're in the TV mode, baby. Like, bro, where did the sun go? I was just in the world! So obviously, first impressions, not great. It doesn't start off very fun or anything. It's really linear, and that's reflected in a lot of people's experiences. The main issue is people just find it boring. It's in a stark contrast to the high-octane action gameplay that they were just in. Not only that, you have the characters or NPCs stopping you from moving to tell you sweet little story details in your ears. The things you do in this mode are mostly minigames with some puzzles, if you can even call them that. There's really only like a few I thought were even remotely challenging, but otherwise for story stuff, they're just holding your hand through a hallway, and that's boring. I dislike it when any game does this. This is pretty much the case for the story missions and some of the exploration commissions, but that's where it stops. Anywhere else, I think it's fine. For example, the game has this mode called Hollow Zero. This is basically the game if it were a roguelike, and you guessed it, you travel through the TVs, but it's a lot more thought-provoking than any other time you're in this mode. You have to actively think about which TV you land on, and if you just autopilot, you're probably just gonna get messed up with a bunch of debuffs. On the other hand, if you make some kind of effort, then you get rewarded with buffs, and it's fun. The fact that this is fun means that the concept isn't bad, they just have to implement it well. I'm not worried about it, and I don't think it should be outright removed from the game. It's good, and when they do it right, it's really fun. It was boring at worst and really fun at best. Never unfun. And thankfully, you can also just press the fast forward button on the top left so the boring sections don't even last that long. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not perfect by any means. Having a third of your game be a mostly boring section can become tedious and outright drive players away. So I'm hoping the devs understand this to improve the TV sections, at least for the story mode. Overall, I think the hate for it makes sense, but I also don't think it's all doom and gloom either. One of the other things I saw come up in conversations about this game was its difficulty and challenge. They talked primarily about the combat being button mashy and easy. It's a fair point to make when you first start the game, as it really is easy in the beginning. The game can look cool, but if it really is button mashing, then what's the point in playing? So this isn't something I strongly dislike, but mostly a nitpick. It took way too long to get to the part of the game that provides a good challenge. What I'm talking about is this mode called Shiyu Defense. It's basically this game's Abyss from Genshin. If you try to button mash here like you did in the story, it's not going to go too well. Either you're not going to go fast enough to S rank it, or later down the line you might just get mollywopped. Because in this mode, it'll give you difficult bosses that have more ambiguous attacks that force you to learn how to dodge it. It's not crazy difficult, but it's good. So when do you unlock this? At chapter 2 in the story, and at level 20 of your internaut level. And unless you were grinding out the game, it just takes a little too long to get there. So that's something that can drive players away from sticking with this game. So I don't strongly dislike this or anything, it's just a nitpick because, you know, you'll get there if you're just enjoying the game and the atmosphere. And that's about it. Nothing really much else that I found to be that bad, enough for me to personally dislike and talk about. Maybe I'll find some more things later down the line. I'm only level 36 at the moment, so maybe there'll be something that will make me just absolutely hate this game. We'll see. But for the time being, it's genuinely been so much fun.
You guys seeing this shit?
So, is this game worth your time? I think so. It's at least worth a try to see if you enjoy the gameplay, because getting immersed in this game is really easy outside of the gameplay. The story isn't crazy or anything, but my point is that the world feels alive, and so do the characters. I don't think this game really requires a lot of your time either. The gameplay only gets faster the better you get at it, and there isn't an open world for you to explore, so it's all fast paced. And if you're worried about dailies or weeklies, that stuff can be done really quickly. It's even faster than it was in Genshin, if I'm being honest. And that's about it. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. I always appreciate the internet points. And let me know in the comments below, do you like the ZZZ? Do you hate the ZZZ? And what's the deal with these damn TVs? I love reading your guys' comments, so let me know what you think. Like, comment, and hit that bell, and goodbye!